For supposed masters of the thieving craft, the red dozers sure do leave behind a lot of destruction and expensive cleanup.
Like the Olympics!
I've called this meeting on Teams or WebEx for the reason of trying this individual for his crimes. I did nothing wrong. All I did was make a passing joke about the quadrennial international sex exchange. And that's where you were wrong, bucko. We at the Five Circle Corporation will not accept such slander. At least make a low-hanging corruption joke instead. Alright, I get it. Is there anything I can do to make up for this? I got a city to run and a movie to act in later. There is one thing you can do for us. Phew, this looks like a good place to rest for a bit. Apparently all I have to do to make amends with the Five Circle Corporation is carry this torch to the arena. Should be easy enough, though I've always wondered what kind of stuff they put in this thing so that it stays ablaze throughout the entire run across the country. Let me just take a quick peek in here. Oh, Mario and Sonic at the Olympics of all places? It's a crazy concept that would have crusaders of the 16-bit console wars blinking profusely. Two once bitter rivals working together to play sports? What a great idea. A legal way for Mario and Sonic to punch each other. The idea made sense from day one, honestly. After being awarded the license to develop an official video game for the 2008 Summer Olympics in Beijing, Sega approached Nintendo and said, "Hey, if we had Mario and Sonic in this game, we could have a crossover of the ages. It would accomplish the International Olympic Committee's goal of making the event more appealing to younger audiences, and also we'd sell like 10 million copies and spawn $1 million franchise." A year-long development cycle later, and you had a one-of-a-kind crossover that instantly captivated audiences. Not just gamers, but also the casual gamers. This also dropped a few months before Sonic would be announced for Super Smash Bros. Brawl, so it only amplified the craziness of the crossover between Red Italian Man and Blue Deviant mascot. The massive success of this first Mario and Sonic game spawned a series that continues to this day with varying degrees of quality. There was also a standalone mobile game released in 2008 called Sonic at the Olympic Games. It followed the tragic tale of Sonic competing at the Olympics alone after the untimely death of Mario. They even removed this mobile game later to pay further respects for the fallen plumber. How touching. But how well did the Wii and DS versions age? Is it still worthwhile to revisit the ones that started this wonderfully odd crossover series? I don't know, watch the video and find out. We're gonna be kicking things off with the Wii version, since it came out first and it's the one that most people think of when they hear this game's name. Mario and the drive-in place? When asked if Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games would be a minigame collection, Scott Steinberg, former VP of Marketing at Sega of America, stated, and I quote, "No, I wouldn't characterize it as a minigame fest. This will be an action sports game in the Olympic spirit. The idea behind it is really to be an easy pick up and play sports game, where gamers of all ages can find it accessible." End quote. So, a minigame collection. The format of the Olympics just lends itself naturally to the minigame format. Each sporting event can be compressed into a bite-sized experience, so it makes sense to go this route when designing the game. Nothing wrong with that. The biggest problem though that a minigame collection must address is maintaining quality amongst all of its minigames. Take for example, Mario Party 8. Controversial opinion, but this is my favorite Mario Party game of all time. It's got dry bones. Okay, it's also got a creative set of boards, a fairly interesting story mode, some nice extras, and a boatload of biased nostalgia I have going for it. But I think part of why this game is so divisive among most people is because of its minigame selection. Since Mario Party 8 was released so early into the Wii's lifespan, you ended up getting a lot of minigames that involve motion controls to an obnoxious degree. You had the jacking off contest, or this stupid chimp game that doesn't even work properly half the time, among others. There's a lot of winners in this package, but ultimately it's soured by nearly the same amount of bad apples, which emphasizes my point. Consistency in a minigame collection is key. Yeah, you can have one god tier minigame, but that's not the only one you'll ever play, and if you have a lot of stinkers in there, whew, good luck. So, does Mario and Sonic on Wii have a consistent collection of minigames, or are there too many rotten prunes to salvage the fresh ones? Well, I'm sorry, it falls into the latter. This game's kinda mediocre. The prunes aren't exactly rotten yet, but they do smell funny. A minigame collection needs to give context and meaning to its offerings, because otherwise it'll just come across as shallow and not very impactful. Take for example, Mario Party again. The minigames are tied to the board game, and you're incentivized to perform well in the minigames to gain advantages on the board. Another example would be SpongeBob SquarePants Lights Camera Pants. Minigames are presented as auditions, and you want to perform well in these games to net roles in the movie that the game revolves around. Hell, in 2 years, Mario and Sonic would address this at their next Olympic meeting. It had a robust campaign mode that involved practicing and competing in the events over a 14-day period, just like the real Olympics. Unfortunately, it's not 2010. It's 2008.
The year of spore, baby!
Which means we have this instead, a mix of decent and mediocre minigames whose only real selling point is that they're tied to the Olympics. Let's peruse through this shallow basket, shall we? Athletics is used to lump together running, jumping, vaulting, and throwing games. If your wish is to die from exhaustion, try the running events. Is it me that's out of shape? No, it must be the game that's too harsh. Still though, all the athletic events are fine, except for javelin throw. For some reason, the timing on this one is extremely weird. It's not really clear when you're supposed to release, so you'll either do it too early or too late. Aquatics games involve you shaking the Wii Remote and nunchuck to swim while tapping the B button to occasionally refill your stamina by breathing a little better. The stuff happening around the arena is a lot more interesting than the minute-long event itself, such as Vector swimming like he spotted some prey on the other side of the pool, Sonic swimming at all considering his history with water. Nice life jacket, by the way. And goddamn Espio just like strolling by the side of the pool and somehow still able to keep up with all the swimmers. He definitely walks like he's not getting paid enough to do this. Archery is cool in concept since you have to pull back the Wii Remote to stimulate pulling back the string of a real bow, but then you have to point the Wii Remote at the screen to actually aim, and then there's a second crosshair that involves moving around the nunchuck, and good job, you ruined it. You gone ruined it. Next up, fencing. The motion controls in this event are actually pretty good. There's a lot of advanced techniques you can pull off, but most of the time you're better off just attacking, dashing back, dashing in, and attacking again. So it does get a bit repetitive after a while. Still a more intense event than most of the others though. I kinda like it. Gymnastics is pretty fun. It consists of trampoline and vault, and in the former you have to press buttons really fast as they come up on screen. I do hate how you have to twist the Wii Remote to do moves sometimes though, since it can be too finicky. Just like the anti-sex pads. Rowing didn't work for me. The button presses worked, but when I had to grab the Wii Remote and nunchuck and pull them back, the game wouldn't register it, so I ended up taking a lot longer to finish it than my CPU opponents on like the easiest difficulty. Yeah, this one sucks. SKEET is garbage. For one, you gotta use the Wii pointer, which is already pretty bad, but even worse is this stupid heart thing where you have to press the button right when the dot goes into the center of the heart. Otherwise, your reticle gets smaller. What the hell is the point of this? You're using a QuickTime event to make the minigame harder for no good reason? In the DS version, there's none of this stupid heart stuff, so I don't know why they had to go ruin the Wii event with this. Finally, there's table tennis. If you've played any tennis game on Wii before, then this will all be very familiar to you. Not much else to say here. It's tennis on the Wii. It fits like a glove over a hand, or a condom over a... There's also 4 dream events that can be unlocked in the circuit mode. They're typical sporting events, but with a Mario or Sonic flair that is basically like spray painting a turd with glitter and sparkles. Don't worry, little guy, you still look much better than the 2012 mascots. So about that circuit mode, it's the main draw of the game. They consist of 5 to 6 events compiled into a tournament against AI opponents. There's quite a few of these, but at the end of the day, you're still playing the mediocre minigames, just in succession now. Conquering these circuits unlocks new events, including the aforementioned dream events, but I don't want to play through all the circuits, so I just won't unlock everything. Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games on Wii does its best to represent a wide variety of sporting events, but all of these minigames feel like they lack substance. Yeah, you can go for world record times or high scores, but all of these events don't really have any depth or sheer chaotic energy to give them any sort of meaningful long-term value. This game straddles the fine line between being a hardcore sporting simulation and a casual frenzy of fun. I know Sega said that they wanted to do the latter, but it just feels mediocre. Even with the novelty of seeing Mario and Sonic beating the shit out of each other, other minigame collections have more than just, well, the minigames, and they also happen to have minigames that are consistently good. Credit where credit is due though, the soundtrack for this game is pretty good. You've been hearing various tracks from it in the background of this video, and while it can be a bit generic at times and not feel very Mario or Sonic-esque, nearly every track sounds great and goes well with the event that they're for. In short, the Wii version of Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games was something that I had never ever considered popping into my console during a games night with friends. And it still isn't. But remember, Nintendo had not just one, but 2 money printing machines available in stores at this time, which means that 3 months after the release of the Wii version, the Olympic Games arrived on Nintendo DS courtesy of Mario and Sonic. The DS version tries to emulate the Wii version as closely as it can. Obviously, it has downgraded graphics and less events due to hardware limitations, but all of the events that it does carry over from the Wii version, plus a few extras, have their controls built for the touchscreen. And honestly, it helps make it the better version. Some events like archery and skeet play far better on the touchscreen than with motion controls. Button presses and moving the stylus across the touchscreen to aim are 2 such control schemes that help make Mario and Sonic on DS a much more intuitive experience. I still don't really like it though. Its events suffer from a lot of the problems that the Wii version does, which is that there's not a lot of long-term value. Let's go through them quickly now, shall we? Again, athletics is a catch-all category that includes 100 and 400 meter dashes, hurdles, long and triple jumping, javelin throwing, and hammer throwing. The running games just involve you swiping left and right rapidly, which makes it one of the few events that makes less sense to play on the DS version than with the Wii. Is the friction I generate going to cause me to go faster or something? If you're on an emulator, try to avoid some of these events, especially like hammer throw, where you have to draw circles on the touchscreen really quickly, because doing any sort of rapid motion on the touchscreen on an emulator is akin to fitting a dog into a birdhouse. Yeah, you can theoretically do it, but something is going to feel very dead afterwards. Aquatics. See my criticism of the hammer and javelin throw games. You basically also have to do a lot of rapid stylus motions. And if you're on an emulator, good luck. Now here's a DS exclusive event, cycling. It's so easy that I am instead going to highlight Mario's butt. That's where all the pasta goes. Gymnastics feels pretty good to play, better than the Wii version too. Drawing shapes on the touchscreen to perform your moves is a much more intuitive control scheme than twisting the damn Wii remote. Archery is also good, with no catches whatsoever. The touchscreen controls work beautifully for the event, and the sound euphoria you receive when you hit that 10. Fantastic. Fencing, like many of the events on the DS version, is easier to play than its Wii counterpart because you don't have to look like an idiot. But it's one of the few where I feel the Wii's motion controls actually enhance the experience by making things feel more intense. Swiping the screen really fast just doesn't have the same oomph as actually lunging forward yourself. It's still pretty good on DS though. Has the same exploitable strategy too. The DS rendition of SKEET is the best event among both of the games. It's one of the few events where I felt like I was actually being presented with something new every playthrough, and it requires a combination of fast reflexes and precision that makes it easily the most replayable sport in the package. I can also give Waluigi a gun. And finally, we have table tennis. Yep. Still table tennis. Pressing buttons instead of swinging the Wii remote makes this rendition far easier to play, but just like with fencing, it feels more engaging on the Wii version. If you're on emulator and you want a massive difficulty spike, try playing this event with horizontal screens. You'll feel inept within mere minutes. And that's it for the regular events. There's also dream events in this version, but they cover different sports and they have different themes, and also I'm still not going to unlock them. I'm not playing the circuit mode. Circuit mode sucks. I didn't bring this up earlier, but both versions of the games also allow you to unlock trivia and other bonus things by playing mini games like concentration. What's this even have to do with the Olympics? Is doping possible in Go Fish? My overall thoughts for the DS version are basically the same as with the Wii game. Very nice soundtrack, but not much of a reason to play it nowadays. It's a mediocre sports game with minimal long-term value that happens to have Mario, Sonic, and the 5 rings plastered onto it. The only award that Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games deserves is a participation medal. No wonder someone decided to use it as fuel for the torch. There's not much reason to revisit these games unless you have some sort of nostalgic value attached to it. A bit of a spoiler for the next game in the series, but Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Winter Games manages to remedy a ton of the original game's issues. No story mode? Here's a full-fledged 14-day in-game recreation of the Olympic experience. Non-Olympic events being used to unlock extras? Hell no. Here's a currency, here's a replica of the Olympic Village, go shopping. Plus, you also have an extra party mode, unlockables that actually mean a damn, and some all-time renditions of winter sports. I'll elaborate more on this title in a future Remember episode, but simply put, Mario Sonic at the Olympic Winter Games puts its predecessor to shame. Ultimately, the duo's first go at the Olympics was a blueprint for future installments. It's a foundational piece that has little value in being revisited today, but hey, at least it's still on par with the terrible 2020 game. Well, That was a waste of time. I still gotta get this torch delivered. After all, night is literally gonna arrive in a few seconds. Ugh. Sweet, that wasn't so bad. I don't really get why they made me do this as a punishment. It was honestly quite... What have I done?